Hello everyone, welcome to one more video which I am now preparing for NISM certification. My videos till now have covered portfolio manager certification, investment advisors module, mutual fund modules, but this time I'm starting with a new module called as research analyst. So you have an exam for research analyst also conducted by NISM, and this particular module covers multiple concepts. One of the area that it covers is related to corporate actions, or as it is often called in some of the international markets as asset servicing. So in this particular video, I'm going to take you through 20 questions related to chapter 9, which are exclusively in context of this particular module. So I will be taking up one question each, and then we'll go up till the 20th one. So let me start by sharing the first question with you, which is which of the following is also known as equity dividend, which means you are getting dividend in form of an equity. So if you see all the four options, it's very clear that in case of bonus issue, you get additional shares from the issuer and it becomes like a dividend in form of equity. So the answer would be A. Let me quickly move on to the question 2, which is related to the rights issue, and this is purely in context of Indian market and NISM module also. So if you see here, there are four statements. If you start reading all starting from the first option, which is A up to D, you will find that three of them are absolutely correct. So let me first share the correct ones with you. Companies Act require that a company which wants to raise more capital through an issue of shares must first offer them to existing shareholders, which is absolutely correct. Subscribing to the rights issue is a choice and not a compulsion for investors, which is option C again is right, because rights is a voluntary corporate action. It's not a mandatory corporate action. Rights entitlement get traded on the stock exchange for a defined period, which is also right. So what is not correct is now very obvious. Shares offered under rights issue are offered at a price higher than the market price. If they're offered at a price higher than the market price, obviously investors will prefer to buy it from the market. So the answer is B here. We move on to the question number 3, which is the third quiz. Which of the following dates is announced by the stock exchanges? Now, whenever there's a corporate action event, different kinds of dates are used in context of this corporate action. So some of the dates are announced by companies and some others are announced by the exchanges also. So let us look at these dates. So record date is announced by the company for every corporate action. There used to be time when companies would close their books, okay, and announce a book closure date. And then there is shut period. Shut period is typically used in context of debt market, where the coupon is paid, and there's a shut period during which securities the owners of the securities are not changed. So the answer in this particular case obviously would be X date. So X date is announced by the stock exchange. We move on to the fourth question, where there's a question which says if a company has announced bonus in the ratio of 2:3, which means you will be getting 2 shares for every 3 shares held, and Mr. X holds 200 shares before announcements of the bonus, how many shares will he receive as the bonus? So you have 4 options here. The answer for this is obviously 133, but if you want to know the working of it, which I have not shown in this particular video, you can write to the email ID which will appear at the end of the video. So let me quickly move on to the next question. Which of the below mentioned corporate action result into creation of fractional entitlement? Now, what is the meaning of fractional entitlement? Fractional entitlement means that you are going to get some shares which are not full shares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. They could be say 0.56, 0.42, 0.22 or 0.55, 0.56 like that. So if you see all these corporate actions in case of stock split, consolidation, buyback of shares, you get full shares, or you return back full shares as in case of buyback. Okay, so only corporate action from these options is the bonus. So the answer is A. Let us move on to the sixth one. Which of the following is most likely impact of buyback of shares on EPS, which is earning per share of a company? So whenever a company buys back the shares, as you can see in the answer here, number of shares go down, profits remain same. So EPS increases after the buyback. Other options won't hold good here. We move on to question number 7. A company can apply for relisting of shares, which means once a company has delisted its shares. There are two ways in which a company can delist its shares. One is voluntary and second is compulsory. So if a company can apply for relisting of shares post how many years after it was asked to compulsorily delist shares from the stock exchange as per SEBI or listing guidelines. Okay. So if you are a company which have not followed the guidelines and you have been, kind of forced to delist, then after how many years you can relist? So the answer here would be 10 years. So it is A. Let us move to the next one. Which of the following is not a valid type of delisting as per SEBI guidelines? So delisting can happen in two ways, voluntary and compulsory. So negotiable is obviously the answer here. So negotiable would mean that the answer is C. So negotiable is not a valid type. Voluntary delisting can go through only if promoters holding in the entity crosses what percentage. So as per SEBI guidelines, it must cross 90%. So the answer is C. We move on to the 10th question, and I'm moving a little quickly because anyway you can stop the video, read it. Otherwise the video would be a very lengthy one, which I don't want it to be. The mechanism is available to the companies in financial distress who are unable to meet their obligation to the lender. So this particular mechanism is available in form of a corporate action event. This would be typically called as what? So as the details suggest, it's called as loan restructuring. So the answer is A. We are now on to the 11th quiz question, which is very, very simple. Which of the below mentioned corporate action best describes corporate action when a company carves out one or more of its existing business into a separate company? So you are one company, but you are carving out and creating one or more company out of it. So it is called as spin off. Okay, some cases it is also called as demerger, but it would be spin off. So the answer is B here. The next one is the 12th question. Which of the following will not get impacted because of loan restructuring? Obviously, term of loan can get impacted. Term of loan can be increased. Conversion of debt into equity is possible. Rate of interest can also be changed, but prepayment of loan does not happen because if a company can prepay the loan, it will not require restructuring. So the answer would be D. This takes us to 13th quiz. Which of the following is not the reason behind merger? So companies may go for a corporate action called merger, and there could be many reasons. So benefit of synergy is definitely a reason. Increased revenue and market share could potentially be a reason, but consolidation of business portfolio is not the reason, because when you merge, you typically spread your portfolio. So the answer is C. If a company announces stock split in the ratio of 1:2 and the face value of the company was 10 pre-stock split, what would be the face value for post stock split? So it will obviously become half of it. So the answer here is 5. I have written it as 5, but you can go with B also. Now, which of the following or which of the below mentioned corporate action is termed as capitalization of reserve? So basically, company is capitalizing its reserve and converting it into capital. So reserve getting converted into capital, that happens through bonus issue. So the answer would be A here. Capitalization of reserves basically means that you're moving a part of your capital into equity shares and releasing or issuing equity shares in lieu of that. Let us move to question number 16. Which of the following type of dividend is declared during a financial, which means between the financial year you get to see this dividend. So it is called as interim dividend. So the answer is B. No final dividend. Final dividend comes after the end of the financial year. There's nothing called as total dividend, or you can add interim and final dividend and get to know the sum of it. Okay, and residual dividend is a term which does not exist. Which of the following corporate action will not result into cash payment to the shareholders of a company? So when a company buys back its shares, it pays the cash. When a company delists its shares, all those investors who give back shares to company, they also get cash. Payment of dividend anyway result into cash, but bonus does not result into cash. So the answer is D. We move on to question number 18, which is it's a court monitor settlement process between the company and its creditors or members. It is called as a scheme of arrangement in Indian market. So the answer would be C here. 19th question is, which of the following corporate action will not increase number of shares that a company has? So, essentially, in bonus, the number of shares will increase. In rights, it will increase. In mergers and acquisitions, also it will increase. The merged entity will have more shares, but buyback will reduce the number of shares. So the answer is A. And finally, on to the 20th question. If a company has given bonus in the ratio of 2:3 and Mr. X holds 200 shares, what will be the value of fractional entitlement if share price is rupees 200? Now, there can be a fractional entitlement created out of bonus shares when the shares that you receive are not full, not complete, and they are in fraction. So if it is in fraction in Indian market, you are paid cash for that. The answer for this is A. However, as I said for one more question, and I am repeating it again, if you need any explanation, you can write to me on healthofmywealth@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching this entire video. I would request you to subscribe to my channel and also like this video. Thank you so much.